Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel this week. This week I'm going to talk about relationship issues and just kind of navigating through them appropriately. I think that I've definitely come a long way in how I handle things, interpersonal relationships, particularly romantic ones. And so I'm going to tell you a quick story about something that happened this week and how I handled it and how I feel like God wants us to handle relationships. So this week I had a bit of a situation that I had to handle very delicately because I am in a fairly new dating relationship. I am going to call him CC. It's his initials. I just couldn't think of anything more creative than that at this point. And I forget what he told me to use. But anyways, so rocking with Cece. So we've been dating for a little under 2 months. And we had a situation this week. I'm not really going to get into all the ins and outs of it because, I mean, it's not really my business. But baby mama drama. So, however, I did want to use it as an example of, just something else that I had thought about in prayer this morning. So I was praying about this scenario and what had happened, and it was completely out of his control. It was completely out of my control. So, what are you going to do? Like, I can't be upset with him. I can't, I could. Kind of justifiably so in a roundabout way, but I know that he can't control another person or their actions and what they do. And so, what am I going to do? But, try to be supportive to him. It's like, if I really care about this person and really care about fostering a relationship with him, then what do I have to do? Kind of suck it up sometimes. That's what, all of us do. So I just wanted to get into just some quick things that I thought about this morning, and then what came to me during prayer about relationships and just trying to navigate through issues, because it's really quick for, relationships to just go down the drain nowadays, for people to get mad because, like, you liked her Instagram picture, like just something crazy. Me and Cece joke about like just weird stuff that people will break up over, in today's day and age. And, hopefully us talking about these things, we can avoid them ourselves. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about was that God puts the responsibility on us to handle situations appropriately. And I watch a lot of Charles Stanley, as I've told you guys, and he talks a lot about putting the responsibility back on us in relationships, and in our dealings, and everything that he's talking about, in our relationship with God and how we relate to other people. He always puts it back on us, for us to be appropriate, for us to do the right things, for us to have our life in order, for us to have our prayer life right. He's always constantly bringing it back to us. God, Jesus, they've already done their part, essentially. And so, it is up to us to, that are living in this crazy world, to just respond appropriately when we have conflict or issues, and particularly in romantic situations, because, you don't want to, and I posted this on Instagram about, you were like, oh, I met a great guy, and then it's like 2 weeks later, you're like, never mind, no, just forget I ever said that. But that's really kind of the culture that we've created in 2018, and hopefully it doesn't continue into 2019, but surely it will. What are the odds of it getting better? So it starts just kind of individually. So individually, we just do our best every day. And like I said, God has already done his part. Jesus has already done his part. So showing grace and love the way God does to other people, I think is really important. And like I said with this situation with Cece, is that he could not avoid what happened. And, you know, he was very apologetic about it. However, you know, I had the responsibility to swallow my pride and to respond with love, you know, and like I said, with grace and with mercy, because that's how I would want somebody else to. I knew that this situation was completely out of his control. I know that, you know, it's really walking on eggshells sometimes, you know, when you have children with people, and then, you know, just things come up and there's conflicts of, you know, whatever magnitude. And I mean, I definitely could have been mad about what happened, but, you know, I needed to just put my feelings aside, essentially, so that I could be supportive to him. And I feel like that shows a lot of maturity in relationships, that you can, you know, put yourself in someone else's shoes and show them grace and show them mercy and show them kindness and show them love, in order for, you know, the whole situation to just come together a little bit better. Because I mean, if I would have, you know, started cursing or, you know, flipping out and like accusing him of different stuff, or, you know, hooping and hollering about this situation, then it would have been, you know, 10 times worse. Like, I know this situation was not his fault. I know that, you know, if he could have, he would have changed it. And so, like, what did I do? I basically just told him it was okay. Told him that I understood, you know, that I wasn't basically going to be throwing it in his face later on, that, you know, he needed to do what he needed to do. And that was fine. That was it. And, you know, we don't even have to ever talk about it again, because as far as I'm concerned, it is done and over with. I mean, I hope it's a learning experience for him. And not to get too much into the situation, but I think that, you know, with situations where you have children with people, is that you have to have good boundaries, because if you don't have those set, then you're going to have issues. Because if you guys aren't going to make it work together and you're moving on with other people, then yeah, you know, feelings might get hurt, or I don't know, become bigger than they need to be, basically. So that was kind of like a situation that happened this week, and, you know, it was fine. Like I said, I prayed about it, and, you know, by the grace of God, I have changed my, I won't say crazy ways, but I've just changed my ways of just getting so upset over certain things so easily. So I just wanted to throw that out there about relationships. And, you know, if you're in a relationship with someone and they have some other type of situation going on that involves you to be a little bit more patient, it's like, think about whether or not they're worth it. If they're worth it, then, you know, you try to swallow your pride a little bit, and you try to, you know, put yourself in their shoes, like I said, and respond with grace and love and mercy and kindness. Now, your gut will tell you when something's absolutely just not right, and when you should and shouldn't take certain things or put up with certain things, and you have to set your own boundaries with people, of course. So, I mean, if it's just blatantly wrong what they're doing, you know, then get away, like run away, like it's a red flag. But like I said, in this situation, I know that it was completely out of his control, and you know, we're just gonna move on. Like I said, I'm done and over it. I prayed about it, and I'm gonna tell you what kind of revelation I had when I prayed about it. Anything God means for us to have cannot be taken away. So basically, if a relationship is meant for you to have, if it's supposed to be worked out, God's going to iron out and smooth out everything. Even if it seems, you know, like you don't know what he's doing up front, like you can definitely look back one day and be like, you know, man, he, you know, really helped me dodge a bullet. Like, or you look back and be like, God, I'm so glad that I hung in there because he gave me this awesome gift and this awesome blessing. And so it's kind of hard to know, but I mean, the thing about it is spending that prayer time with God, especially bringing him in your relationships, which is something that I've done in the last probably year or so. Like, I've really just had that coming to Jesus moment in all my relationships, for me to be like, okay, you're the one that has to change how you do business. It's not them. No, they were wrong. However, I have to change, and I have to set boundaries that I'm comfortable with. And if they can't get on board with that, then, you know, it is what it is, and we're just both gonna move on separately. Just to piggyback on what I just said, I had just jotted down notes about, you know, the same thing I said, with knowing when to walk away and when to stay and fight. You know, definitely heed warning signs that, you know, this is not something you need to be in. Like, if you start praying about God, if you start praying about God showing you signs about whether or not you should be with someone, I mean, he's going to come through. And I have definitely this testimony of 2 situations this year where, you know, I was kind of on the wrong track with. I had met a neighbor that was really cool. We got along really good. However, he hands down wasn't who God wanted me to be with. He didn't want a relationship. Like, he was looking for something completely different than I was, and he and I acknowledged that, and we talked about it. And, you know, I wanted to still just be cool and be friends, you know, with this person, because I don't really have a lot of friends in Florida. But he just completely stopped talking to me. And, you know, for a while I was like, gosh, like, what did I do? Like, you know, I thought we were friends. But I mean, I just came to the realization he just really wasn't meant to be in my life. It's just what the situation was. Fast forward, you know, I met another guy, and I thought, you know, wow, like, maybe he's the one. Like, he's my age, 35. He didn't have any kids. He had just made chief in the Navy. Like, he seemed really smart and really sweet, and, you know, seemed like he had a good family background. And that's what I said, you know, I think in my last video, is that, you know, when we look at all these things on the outside surface that just don't really necessarily, you know, equate into them being a good person, like, we start, you know, checking off lists, you know, over here, but then, like, the biggest check mark needs to be, you know, their relationship with God in relation to how they're going to treat you and look at your relationship. I mean, I just really, from trial and error, just don't believe that I can be unequally yoked with someone again. It's just a recipe for disaster. And, you know, I've told myself that it was enough for someone to believe in God but not be a Christian, that, you know, I could change that, and that it wasn't such a big deal. But I mean, it's just, I'm proof that it really, really is. So lastly, the biggest revelation that I had when I was praying today, that I put on Instagram, probably can't see that. Oh, I did have it bigger, but I'm gonna just read it. So this is a little meme joint that I made today. It says, I have learned sometimes I have to let people and things go that really mean something to me in order to find out if it was really meant for me. I'm gonna say it one more time. I have learned sometimes I have to let people and things go that really mean something to me in order to find out if it was really meant for me. And what I put as just a description for it was, in the past, I've had the hardest time letting go and accepting change, but God and the Holy Spirit have helped to ease my anxiety. The peace that God will give you if you ask is amazing. He is always faithful, even when we don't understand what is going on. It is always with his best interest at heart. So basically, when I was praying today about the situation with Cece and I was like, well, you know, God, like sometimes I don't know like what you're trying to tell me in this relationship. Like I'm so conflicted because things can be so good, but then, you know, sometimes little things come up and it's like I don't know if I should push through or if I should, you know, just leave it alone. And that was what came to my mind, is that, you know, I just need to step aside and let God do what he's going to do. And if it comes out that Cece and I are not meant to be together, then it is what it is, and I have to accept that, and you know, it's gonna be okay. And then there will be someone else that's just as great as he is. I mean, I really just feel like there's so many great qualities about him. Like, I do want to stay and fight. However, you know, eventually God might say, you know, stop fighting. And if he does, then I'm going to listen. But as long as he tells me to keep fighting and keep pushing, because I don't scare easy, baby mamas, I'm going to do that. So that's just where I've left that situation. You know, the biggest thing is that we just don't know what God's plan is. I have no idea from day to day, like what I'm going to experience and what, you know, or how he's going to change me, how he's going to grow me, because I've just grown tremendously, you know, over the years and just learned so much. And so I have no idea. I don't know. I can't say that, yeah, this is the relationship God has for me, that this is his best. I can't. And, you know, if it doesn't work out, it's gonna be okay. And that's my advice for everyone that's, you know, maybe in similar situations, is that if it doesn't work out, it's still gonna be okay. So whether this person is meant for you or not, it might be a little bit cloudy or fuzzy, and there might be some roadblocks, and you know, just trust God and what he's trying to tell you and what he's trying to show you. My best advice. I know this video ran really long and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna do a quick 10-minute video. But I'm really overzealous about the topics that I talk about, and I'm a Cancer and a woman, and so those two things together, I talk a lot. I hope that maybe sharing my experiences with you guys will, you know, help you guys maybe heal or go through whatever's going on. There's so many people that reach out to me on Instagram almost on a daily basis and tell me little snippets of their stories, and you know, so that's really amazing, and that's why I keep doing this. You know, I'm a small YouTube channel, but I do believe that God can do great things, you know, if that's in his plan. If not, then it is what it is. But I appreciate you guys for continuing to watch. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Leave a comment below if you were touched or inspired by this video, or if something, you know, definitely caught your attention. But thank you guys for watching, and I will see you for another topic next week.